Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric, and you may not know this about me, but I'm a pretty big fan of Avatar The Last Airbender, a great TV show, and I recently made a comment on a community post on the official Avatar channel about an Avatar theme park, and when I gave that idea, everybody, including the actual channel, gave ideas for it. So I thought it'd be fun to make a video about what I think would go into an Avatar theme park. Before I get into it, I hope you will subscribe to the channel. We've been growing a lot. Thank you for 500 subscribers. I really appreciate your support. Now, let's get into what this park could be. So I should start by mentioning this will mostly be about what rides and what theming there would be and how that relates to the actual show. Also keep in mind this park, my ideal park, is mostly based around the original show, not much comics or Legend of Korra. I haven't read the comics and I don't really think there's a lot of Korra that could be added in that'd be all that great. And I'm also going to start with saying there would be a few themed areas. There would be a total of 5. There'd be the Southern Water Tribe, the Fire Nation, the Earth Kingdom, which would be the largest area, the Northern Water Tribe, and the Southern Air Temple, which would be a bit of a kids area. The Spirit World would be like a kind of expansion project, like with Galaxy's Edge or Pandora World of Avatar. Now let's get into the rides, starting at the entrance of the park. So once you enter the park, I think you should see this large statue that is the iceberg, and there's a glowing Aang inside of it, because that's how the whole story of the show began. That can be how the story of the park began, and that can make this whole park the kind of one that tells a story. So now let's get to the first ride, and that is penguin sledding. This would be a Mack bobsled type roller coaster. I know they haven't really made those in a long time, but it'd be like Avalanche at King's Dominion. But it'd be very well themed to go through like the blue tunnel from the episode, go around the Fire Nation ship maybe. It'd be a fun, cute little ride. The cars would look like penguins. I think it'd be a good family roller coaster. The next ride I'll discuss is a simple boat ride, probably called something like Katara's Canoes. It would either be indoors or outdoors. It'd be a ride that goes around some scenes, maybe some cool illusions, so like Katara's really waterbending. Not a ton of story to it, just a simple ride to be there. And the final one is a motion simulator called the Avatar Returns. Very similar ride type to the Simpsons ride. You would go through the glaciers to get Aang off of the ship. I think it'd be a pretty fun one. It wouldn't be like one of the best rides in the park, but it would be a good fit for the park, because there's normally motion simulators in these, and 1 or 2 could be pretty good to get the stories across. Also, I'll point out this would probably be the 2D animation style instead of 3D. So that's what we have for Southern Water Tribe. And after that, you go through a massive glacier, and you can go to the other areas of the park from there. Let's head to the right in the park to the Earth Kingdom, the largest area because there's a lot of like sub-areas to it. Let's begin with Kyoshi Island. To get to Kyoshi Island, you walk over the giant Unagi. It'd be a large statue, I think that'd be pretty cool. And maybe every half hour or hour it shoots water out of its mouth. I think that'd be a really cool thing to see. Kyoshi Island would be a pretty simple area. It would have the theming like the totem. There'd be a ride themed to the Kyoshi comics. I don't know a lot about them, so I don't really know what the ride would be, but it'd be something like that. Now, above that, we have an Omashu area. You have to walk over the bridge. There would be some statue of the Cabbage Man, and if you press a button, the cart would get lifted into the air. I think that'd be a pretty fun thing. And the actual Omashu area, you mostly wouldn't get to do much. It mainly is housing a big roller coaster. It would be themed to the Omashu delivery system. You would start by going through the cave room from Return to Omashu with the lunch key scene and all that, and you would see waterfalls, and then you would weave your way through the large structure of Omashu as if you're in a package. Maybe some parts where there's a separate track that has Azula on it. I think some good theming for this ride would be good. It'd kind of be like a Big Thunder Mountain Railroad type thing. So that would be the ride at the Omashu area, and other than that, it's just a little bit of walking around. Maybe a restaurant. And then we have the Siwang Desert. There would be these large fake sand dunes that look fairly real, but they're not actually sand. And you would be walking in the like crevasses of those. There would be maybe a small ride here, but the main thing would be a walkthrough show themed to the library, where it's like a professor going into it and you're on a tour to find some stuff. It'd be a pretty cool walkthrough attraction. There'd be a large Wanchi Tong at parts. And that's what would be in the desert area. Now, above that, we would have a hypercoaster. I want to have some thrilling roller coasters because that's the kind of person I am. And it would be themed to the Serpent's Pass. because the Serpent's Pass is a bunch of large rocky mountains, and an airtime-filled hyper would be great for that. At the end, you would go into a helix that surrounds a large statue of the Serpent, theming to how Katara and Aang made a whirlpool to defeat the Serpent in the episode. And as you go to the right of that, there's a large foggy swamp walkthrough area with a large banyan tree that looks real but is not. The main purpose of that is just to be a nice walking area, so you're not just looking at the Serpent's Pass coaster as you walk around it. But you don't have to go that way. You can also go past the Serpent's Pass coaster to a different way to the left. But either way, you come to a train station. This is a large capacity train that takes you into the Ba Sing Se area. To get to Ba Sing Se, you have to take the train. And you go through the rings. It'd be a pretty short train ride, but once you're in, there would be a Jasmine Dragon restaurant. That is a given. There would have to be a Jasmine Dragon. But also, a large, possibly the best ride in the park, dark ride themed to Crossroads of Destiny. And also other parts of the last parts of Season 2. So what basically would happen is, you're in a Ba Sing Se queue area, then you enter an indoor Ba Sing Se area that's supposed to be like Lake Laogai with Dai Li agents. There'd be a pre-show where Jet explains how the Dai Li are working with Azula to overthrow the Earth King. And the main plot of the ride is you enter an Appa car, and you go past show scenes that have animatronics that are basically Azula and Zuko fighting against Aang and Katara. I think some lift elements and a drop track and elevator part would be really cool for this, like when Aang is rising up in the Avatar state, an elevator lift would be great. If you want me to give a full video on my ideas for the dark ride, I will do that. Please let me know in the comments, but put simply, it would be a mix of screens with fight scenes and practical effects to look like bending that I think would be really, really awesome. And that is going to do it for what is in the Earth Kingdom. Now let's move on to the Northern Water Tribe. This would be a very elaborately themed area, really made to look like the big city that has some cool ice buildings. It'd be a really cool one, I think. There wouldn't be a ton of rides here. The main one would be a dark ride kind of thing. It's a like river battle at Dollywood, where you're in a boat and you get to shoot water and go to either side. You'd mostly shoot at statues or limited movement animatronics of Fire Nation soldiers, and they kind of tell the story with the Spirit Oasis. At the very end, there'd be a bit of a show scene where there's actual fire that goes on. Everything goes dark as if the Moon Spirit was killed. And when you exit the tunnel, there's a massive Koizilla animatronic. I think that'd be a really awesome touch to have, and it'd be the main reason to go on the ride. It'd be a very fun one. The other thing would be a gondola thing like Tokyo Disney Sea, because there were gondolas in the Northern Water Tribe in the show. I think that would be a very fun thing to add as well. And one other thing I think could be added is a show that has some illusions to make it look like a person's waterbending, and you can be teaching the motions to kids or anyone who wants to learn. I think that area could be fun. So this area would be small but elaborately themed and some good rides. Now to the Fire Nation. Another large area taking up nearly the entire left side of the park. Let's start in the furthest back section, where we have a massive recreation of the Fire Nation Royal Palace. And inside of it is a dark ride, themed to the Aang vs. Ozai battle in Sozin's Comet. And I think the best ride system would be the one they use for the Spider-Man ride at Universal. There'd be a lot of screen to it, but imagine how awesome the visuals would look with the 2D style put on massive 4K screens. To add to this, there could be practical effects that utilize different types of bending, such as pyrotechnics or moving rocks make it look like earth bending. The music could make the ride, and I think a couple of funny moments thrown in would be great because that's what makes the Spider-Man ride so great. And the queue leading up to it, a lot of theming to Day of Black Sun I think would be pretty cool to throw something in like that. Some of those weird metal tanks they had, maybe you walk through the gates of Azulon to get there. There's a lot of possibilities for it. So this could be possibly the best ride in the park, with some great theming and a really awesome ride. Now we have a large launch coaster. This one would be built really high up, and the actual ride queue, you would go up large stairs, go either direction, go up large towers, and that's why it is themed to the Dancing Dragon. The queue and the area that the rides launch out of would be designed to look like the large temple that the dragons lived in. One side be red, one be blue, mirror images, and they'd have a really cool layout that is similar to what the ride is. It'd be high up, thrilling, and definitely a really great roller coaster. Now, for Crescent Island, a cool recreation of the volcano. There would be a motion simulator themed to Roku fighting the volcano. This could be a fun ride. The queue could be very excellent. Maybe something with Roku's Ghost explaining what the ride's going to be like. And one other thing I have in mind is Ember Island. Ember Island would have a theater, and there'd be a play twice daily. It would be pretty much full length, good production value, be a really good show, with a lot of the funny stuff from the actual show. And another area I thought would be cool is a small recreation of that one fair from the episode The Deserter. There'd be a show with some Fire Nation, like magic tricks that'll make it look like it's fire bending, with some cool illusions. And that is all of my ideas for the Fire Nation. Now let's move to the Southern Air Temple. For the Southern Air Temple, it would mostly be a kids area, and there would be this sort of thing like the Redwood Creek Trail at Disney's California Adventure, where you're on a rope course going through the Air Temple. I think that'd be really fun. Maybe an air scooter ride that's like a spinner similar to Dumbo. This would be a small area just right behind the large glacier of the Southern Water Tribe. And that's all of the areas. Spirit World will come later, but what else do we have? A sky ride. You can get to each area by sky ride, and unlike some that go back and forth, this one just goes full circuit. And then you can either go from Fire Nation to Northern Water Tribe and around, or from Northern Water Tribe to Fire Nation. It can be clockwise or counterclockwise. And it would be like a Sky Bison. So that would be very fun. You take Sky Bison around the park. There's not a whole lot else to say about the park, but those are my ideas. Thank you for watching. I hope you like these ideas for a park. It's mostly just imagination, not necessarily ones that could definitely happen. Very high budget for sure. Comment down below any ideas you have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to help support. And if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. I'll see you next time.